Welcome back, everyone, to Total Nonstop Impact Talk for Impact fans right here on the YouTube and the Twitch and wherever you get your podcast audio worldwide. We are live tonight post TNA Victory Road. To my left, you're right, we got Front Row Bill, and we were having a few Wi-Fi technical difficulties, and so I think we're going to go with the avatar as you see him here, but you will still hear Front Row Bill. He is live from random spot San Antonio.
San Antonio, Texas, Jacob.
San Antonio.
I am here post Victory Road. But it did seem like the best way to do this would be via the audio. So obviously for all of our podcast listeners, no difference for you. But for all of our visual watchers here on the YouTube and Twitch, sorry, but if you watched the show tonight, you probably already saw enough of me. So, and now I'm doing you a favor here.
We also just saw, in fact, one of the last things we saw on the pay-per-view tonight was JBL clotheslining. He practically clotheslined Eddie Edwards into your lap.
Oh, yeah, JBL out of nowhere. I know we were talking about it when he showed up previously. It made a lot of sense for him to show up in Texas. I wasn't sure if it would be on the premium line. Well, not even the premium, on the TNA Plus special here.
Right.
But it is, or maybe a fallout for TV. But you didn't want that to get spoiled, so it'll be interesting to get a follow up, or just like last time, is that just kind of a one off? And we hear nothing about JBL again for a while.
Well, the fact that it happened twice now, and I know we're doing things out of order here, folks, so just bear with us. We'll go through the whole card and such, but this seems like a very, talked about moment that people are going to be hot on right after the show ends. So we're just kind of following that for now. So just bear with us. We'll hit it all tonight. This feels much now that this actually happened technically 3 times, because he walked, for those of you that may not know, we discussed it last time he showed up at Emergence, but he walked Nick Nemeth down to the ring for the AAA Triple Mania show that just happened about a month ago when he was defending.
Facts.
Yeah, when he was defending his title against Alberto El Patron. But then the funny part after that is he shook Patron's hand after the match, which it could have been a, hey, long time no see, good to see you, who knows. So I don't think we're going to be crossing universes. I don't think that's going to be what's going on. I think it was just a more of a preview of coming attractions. But the fact that JBL really helped him out tonight, that was a big statement. And I got a feeling they're going to be talking even more about it now.
No doubt. It does make you wonder. I know, like Swag Fan was asking, like, why? Like, is there this allegiance just from knowing each other over the years? Is it going to be more than that? Or could this be, like, let's not kid ourselves. If you know JBL, right? JBL always has a plan behind what he does. Could this result in JBL going after the title? Could that be Bound for Glory or a hard to kill type match against Nick?
I've got a feeling JBL is going to be Bound for Glory, but I've got a feeling it's going to be more Moose calling out JBL for revenge.
That
Honestly.
could be. That could be. It feels like I could definitely see him at least initially, maybe as like a special enforcer in like a world title match or something. But he's so aligned with Nick. I could see that. It feels like we're definitely getting the next level of JBL. But once again, I don't know if that's going to be. I got to imagine TV will play out based on it being in Texas and everything. I think on Thursday you're going to see something from JBL. Be interested to see if they promote anything in the next coming days.
Yeah. If we see, we'll hear, like to have a promo come out, like we just had all the promo cards come out post matches, and still you're such and such champion, saying like the ones that I use for covers of our videos, and then I spruce them up. We'll hear from JBL this week. One of those.
Yes.
Before we jump into the rest of this and dive too far, I do want to do a special thanks to Punk for the $2 tip at the top of the chat here. And then further down here, we've got Bell's Boy with the $20 tip. Thank you very much. He says, good PLE tonight. Greetings all. So the rumor is that Steph might be expecting with the Manser. Oh, I did. Wow. I saw the tip. I didn't read it yet. So I'm reading this fresh. It's like, apparently she is with or dating Mance of MLW Manser.
Good brother number 3.
Yeah, right. That's true. Speedball's X Division champ again. We will get into that. And JBL might be Nick's guardian angel. That's one hell of a guardian angel. Instead of wings, he's got, super lariat arms. Whether Nick likes it or not, apparently. So, and it almost looked like Nick was surprised when it happened. He was surprised. He looked a little dumbfounded at the end there before he got that win over Moose.
What are you doing here?
Yeah. Swag fan, is JBL able to wrestle again? Well, if he's throwing clothesline from hell so hard that he's throwing himself, like literally throwing himself into him. I don't know if you saw that first one that he did to Brian Myers. I almost thought I saw a head rolling after that one. My God. Courtney says,
I'm with you, Jay. Like
Courtney says Dia has a medical update here. I'm going to try to go to the.
Yeah, she just posted it. Check it out there, J-Bone.
I'm going to try to go to. Go to TNA's page here and see what we got. Okay. Oh, it's right at the top. Okay, so this is 2 minutes ago. Okay, I'm not going to play it because I'm going to get in trouble because this is TNA content. But just give me a second here.
Bring up the Twitter feed.
Okay, medical update. Oh, so Jordynne Grace, I must have missed this. Jordynne Grace was attacked? Oh, that's right. She was attacked afterwards. After her match?
Post-match. Yeah, post-match.
So she is medically cleared. She is okay. Zachary Wentz, sprained joints and a bone bruise in his foot. He is also medically cleared. Oh. Oh, okay. So she also talks about Steph DeLander, and no, it doesn't sound like she's pregnant.
No,
She's got
it's legit. It's legit.
she's got pending neck surgery, and she's going to be
Mhm.
out 6 to 10 months, and that's not even, I wouldn't even call that guaranteed. That's with something like that, it's really hard to give a return date. I mean,
Yes,
look at what
correct.
others went through. Look at what Brian Danielson went through. Look at what Big E went through. He never even came back to wrestling. Look at
Yeah, you got to make sure everything's right before you come back from something like that.
right. I mean, Kurt Angle had how many surgeries? John Cena had how many surgeries? You can't. You got to be careful with that. It depends on the severity. We don't know yet, so I'm sure we'll get updates. Um, that's a bummer. I was really hoping to see her branch out into the knockouts division more, but that's not to say it won't ever happen. It's just not going to happen anytime soon. So yeah, if you're a person of faith, please keep her in your thoughts and prayers. Send her some love online. Um, you know, I'm not sure if there's a GoFundMe for her surgery and medical costs and stuff like that. I have no idea.
Yeah, I think this was all kind of like pretty like sudden news. I got the impression that pretty much this was all kind of decided today, like that this direction was went. So I know in the promo she cut, she kind of
Yeah.
talked about it bothering her for a while. So I don't know if that was just something being monitored and decided just to go with it now. But yeah, no, it's definitely legit, and no doubt about it.
And I unfortunately dozed off for a couple minutes, so I like woke up like right in the middle of her talking in the ring, and I woke up towards the end of it, and I was like, wait, we're not getting a match. What's going on? So if she did reveal anything in the ring, I clearly missed it. I have no.
Yeah,
I
no, no,
had.
no. She talked about it, like getting the neck surgery. That she was
Oh,
going to be.
okay.
It's not like it's so long, not goodbye, but so long. So,
Okay,
uh,
that's the part that I heard. Okay.
yeah. And then at the end, like because even Cardona was like giving her a hand and all after everything that's been going on. But then in the end, he obviously attacked Rhino once she left with PCF.
Samanaga. Um, yeah. So hopefully, I mean, the whole thing was really a bummer. I mean, the whole thing felt awkward. I really didn't know how this was going to play out. The last thing you want is something like this. Um,
Yeah, I'm sure
so
this was going to be, like that tag match was probably going to be shenanigans galore. But
yeah,
whatever it was supposed to be got obviously changed. And when you get something serious like this, I think they probably just gave Steph free reign. It's like, here, hey, take a couple minutes, do whatever you want to do, say whatever you want to say, and kind of go from there.
right,
Because
right.
yeah, it is a very serious thing. That's a very serious surgery.
Yeah,
Definitely,
yeah. Anything
everyone
back
here
or
at
neck?
TNI wishing
Yeah,
Steph the best.
we are absolutely, and we'll try to keep you guys updated whenever we hear something hit the news. So. Um, honestly, in the tapings coming up, what did we got? Some tapings tomorrow, same location, Bill.
Correct. Same
Okay.
location. Um, so it'll be interesting to see. Obviously, they had a packed house tonight, roughly 2,000 strong, biggest U.S. gate in some time, beat hard to kill in Vegas. So kudos to everybody there. And I'm sure they've been hitting the local market and after tonight's show and the stuff with JBL and everything going on, get a good walk up for tomorrow as well. Because I know we talk about it, stuff like that, like Vegas, like they had that big gate, and then they had about like a little over 1,000, I think, for that second night of tapings, which they promoted heavily. Remember, it was Okada, Will Ospreay, so they did a lot of work to get people. So they didn't promote anything other than like the Hardys will still be there, which on my way out, longest line since they've been here so far, because they've done meet and greets after shows every loop they've been in, and they've had big crowds, big lines, but by far the longest crowd tonight. I'm sure it might still be going. If you're in the line waiting for the Hardy meet and greet, because they'll say to everyone is through the meet and greet, there's a good chance it's going on still as we speak.
That's pretty awesome. You know, they're gonna. I noticed that when they were going through the list of dates from now until the end of the year, a lot of them in the Carolinas featuring the Hardys. So
Hardy country,
yeah, big time Hardy country. That's where they started. Was in the Carolinas and down
Omega.
The Omega Wrestling, correct. So they should help. They should absolutely help draw a good house for those shows. I'm not sure of the locations, but yeah. And it was, as we get into more of this, make sure you guys are smashing that like button. Smash that sub button if you're new and you're digging the content. Ring that bell for notifications. So how now you mentioned like 2000. I honestly it really seems like it would have been a lot more than that.
I believe the venue, obviously with production and stuff like that, I think that's about the max it hold, because it was pretty full. Like they had most of the bleachers that are on the one side packed. Like maybe a few little openings on the side.
Was that like
on the other side? It's not double bleachers. It's one side bleachers.
Oh, okay. But
then there's floor seating and a lot on the floor, and then there is some upstairs as well, but not. But mainly, obviously, heavy floor bleachers to that one side.
Okay.
Like I said, I don't think you could max it out. But because what did you say, J-Bone, was the capacity you heard of that building?
The capacity, like just by itself for like a concert or like a game, was like 3,200. Now, if you take away one side, yeah, that's going to certainly cut a lot off. But even
then obviously the ring and the surrounding area, which had a lot of space, like there was a lot of room for extracurricular activities.
Right. And it was like 5 of those sections. I was trying to like think, like, I'm like, okay, if you got rows A to Z, you got 15 across, 5 sections of those. I did the math. That's about 1,900 right there. And then plus several hundred on the floor. So you're looking at between 2,000 to 2,500 is my guess.
Yeah, I think if you did less production, but obviously with the stage, the ramp, the ring side, that cuts into a big part of this. Oh, it looked great. And hey, what have I been saying on this show for a while about the center tunnel? Obviously, they've gone that way. The center tunnel looks so much better than the side tunnel. So kudos.
It does
to
look
TNA
good.
Mag.
Yeah, it does.
How about the start of the show with Josh Matthews in the truck? Call. Did you see that?
No, I missed that. When was that?
Was it the start of the main show or the start of the countdown? I think it was the start of the main show after the FBI warning. I think it was Josh Matthews, like at the desk doing the countdown. Unless that was just internal, but I assume everyone saw it.
Okay, that's it.
Like it was just the back of his head looking at the screen. But maybe that was just the thing that we saw locally that wasn't supposed to show. Main show, John Palmer. That's what I think. That's for our members.
Main show, okay. John Palmer, what's up? Good to see you. Yeah, if you guys are interested in becoming a member, go to the front page of the YouTube channel. There's a few different tiers there to help help support the show. Any amount is greatly appreciated. Yeah, so Terrence Sullivan says main show as well. Okay, awesome.
Yeah, so you're going to have to watch the kickoff there. And why I'm saying it, J-Bone, because everyone should be watching it, because I made sure to let everybody know when I got in there, if you're all following me or looking at me on the social media, that there is a code, J-Bone, to get TNA Plus for a free month. So there's no reason not to do it. So make sure, if you want to watch Victory Road as well as all the content, the back catalog, use the offer code SPURS, as in the basketball team, or as just what a cowboy wears on his boots, SPURS, SPURS, to get the first month free of TNA Plus.
Do you think the Spurs played games there?
That's not the Spurs arena, but it wouldn't shock me if I don't know enough of if they might maybe do like a practices or stuff like that.
Could be.
It seems like from what I gathered there today, it holds a lot of concerts. It's mainly a concert venue, I feel. But everything I've heard from all the people there, management, is they love it. They love it. The people working there, management. And from what I was hearing originally when they booked this venue, because I know there was a lot of, remember, this wasn't the original venue for this show. It was
supposed to be in Cleveland. Yeah.
It was supposed to be in Cleveland. But now I think we're getting an idea. Look at how big the gate was. And this does feel, and I pretty much confirmed, this is a dry run for returning to this venue with an even bigger show.
Yeah.
And I think you know what that means next year.
Look, they're probably going to put this on a list to come back to.
Oh, yeah, but I think you're talking Big 4 premium live event, likely Big 2 premium live event for next year.
Could be. Yeah. Makes sense. And that's good. It's, sometimes you gotta take that chance and test the waters. Like they're doing great with these, slightly bigger venues. They're selling them out
picking
or
the right
darn
ones.
near close.
These are, hey, look at the wrestling business today. You're seeing companies that are choosing correctly, barely scraping by on some of these decisions. And hey, TNA had the same issue years ago. Like there was that era. Spike TV, the end of the Spike TV era, they were running college venues that they would only get 1,000 people at, and they were 9,000 seat buildings. So it just looked horrible. Like so every company has faced this. Even WWE has faced this at times.
Sure.
But you gotta know your markets. You gotta know the buildings. You gotta have plans in place to advertise, hit the streets, do all these things. And right now, the proof is in the pudding, J-Bone. We're selling out left and right. It's a very good run right now for the company. So just got to keep that momentum. I know that makes some people want to go big, very big, quickly. Go with the pace.
Yeah.
Slightly because you sold 2,000 doesn't mean you should play 5,000 next year. That does not mean that.
Right. It's look how long it took under this new regimen to get this far.
Hey,
they took
Johnny Bravo,
took over
5-year plan. 5-year plan.
Right. Well, even more. I mean, they took over in 2017?
Yes.
And this is 7
but there
years
were some
later?
changes. There were some changes. There was COVID, and then there was some management changes in there as well.
Well, with this year, yeah.
So really, we're seeing, like, honestly, we're in now like year 1 of the reboot.
Yeah. And it's I feel like it's really doing well. I mean, there's been some controversial stuff, the farewell to Scott D'Amore, but look at how they're doing, you know?
Yeah. Now, well, I do want to highlight Bell's boy here. And I know he's meaning NXT in there. Come on now, admit it. It's because the current cooperation with NXT that the crowds have been showing up more. I think it plays a part in it.
Oh, sure.
But, like, look at tonight. Like, tonight had one member of NXT on the show.
Right.
But now this is, hey, Bell's boy, I know you have an opinion on this as well as a lot of other people in our Discord, which you should join, link below, and in the chat. Are contracted wrestlers on the TNA roster that have been showing up on NXT, like the Joe Hendry mania is reaching its fever peak right now. That's a big reason why it's doing so well. Jordynne Grace, also home state girl, Jordynne Grace from Austin, played a huge role in this. But like that relationship, and I know a lot of people are like, oh, what's TNA getting out of it? I think you're seeing tonight what TNA is getting out of it. I'm not saying that's everything, but that's part of it. That's definitely a factor.
They're turning, and people are starting to turn heads.
Fair relationship, an equitable relationship is key, and that's what it is. You're seeing wins, you're seeing back and forth, you're seeing storylines. Oh, shudder to think you can have storylines in wrestling still. It can happen.
What? It's not just throwing together wrestling matches? What?
Oh, yes. There was a second backstage segment. I was just going on the card, but we had it. Didn't think it would happen. We got the Santino and his daughter segment. It did happen. They're both authority figures, liaisons, if you will. We did get it.
That was so cute. He's like, oh, look at my little liaison. You know, he was, I mean, that the emotion, I mean, yeah, he had to be his goofy self, but you know, the emotion in that bit was genuine, because you know, he is absolutely got to be so proud of his daughter, you know, like any parent would be, you know.
Very, very much. Now, I do want to say, see here, because I noticed John Palmer mentioned this in the chat. I was wrong. The control room scene was before the pre-show. Okay. So it was before the pre-show. I wasn't sure where it because it kind of all runs together when you're there. So just want to answer that one.
Okay. I came in a couple minutes into the
and that's
Slater.
Why you missed it. That's why you missed it. Because it was right at the beginning.
Okay. Yeah. So there's a couple matches I missed a little here, I missed a little there, just because I was in the middle of eating or setting up the show for tonight. But majority of the show I caught. So besides my catching my 40
now, I
wings.
do want to highlight one more comment here, J-Bone, from Critical Sting, one of our good friends here, long time TNI fan member, even though he's a young whippersnapper.
Yes.
Because this kind of encapsulates everything with the company, from Bound for Glory in Melrose Ballroom to a non-Big Four event drawing 2,000. Like, where we've come from.
Wow.
And hey, I still attend events at Melrose Ballroom from time to time, but it is small, cramped. Like, it's the opposite of growing, because New York City is such a tough market to play. So I get its practicality, but for a TV company that's trying to expand, it just can't be there. And I remember having a specific conversation with Scott Demore at the time, and he was like, yeah, we're not coming back here. And that was the right call. And that Anthem has continued that. Once again, I think next year they are planning to run New York City. So we'll see where they go. I know there's been the rumblings of the Hammerstone or even the Grand Ballroom, which they've run previously over the years, would be fine. But that's obviously more limited. But based on what they're doing now, if it's a Big Four, Hammerstone would definitely be in play.
Oh, sure.
But maybe not there. Maybe they go, I know we've talked about it before, J-Bone, do what they did for that cross-branded show with AAA. and TNA
Yes.
or Impact at the time, and do the Garden. But when I say Garden, don't misrepresent what I'm saying. Not the main Garden, the theater where they used to have the NFL draft, where they had that show. Still a very cool venue. But I think that could be a good option for them.
Yeah, that was a great show. I don't remember who was all. I remember a few faces that were on there. And that was several years ago, but that was a great venue. Yeah. Yeah. A different setup, but
the Hulu Theater it's called now. Yes. Thank you, Killsteel.
Thank you. Good to see you, Killsteel. How you doing? I'm seeing a few faces in here I haven't seen in a while. It's great to see. Great to see. All right, so we're kind of jumping around here. Do we want to cover the pre-show? You want to talk about it a little?
Yeah, let's cover the pre-show, J-Bone. The people here, they want it. They demand it.
All right. All right, so we're starting out hot here. We got some X Division action. Two faces. We got a current big name generation with Kushida, and then you've got an up and comer that just got signed this year in Leon Slater. It's so good to see fresh faces like this, win or lose. Like, look at how long it took for Jason Hotch to really get his moment this year. What did you think of Kushida versus Leon Slater?
This honestly, this is I know it was on the Countdown show, but this was one of my favorite matches of the night, J-Bo, because I love Kushida, always have. Yeah. And Leon Slater, I honestly didn't know much about him. I had heard the name. I may have seen a few clips of him before he was signed to TNA, but I have been so impressed with him. One of the most athletic, and he's big. Like him and Kevin Knight both have like a kind of a similar build. Like they're taller guys, but they're athletically lanky, and like they can go over posts. They can do all kind. Like the athleticism in some of these guys is just amazing. And that's one thing I think, obviously, the Performance Center, WWE gets right. Find athletes, mold them, because when you can't teach athleticism like that. And you get that and you mold that into something, and he has it. I think he's going to be a star down the road. It might be 5 years from now, but it is like that's someone with just so much ability right now. So I could see him really having some momentum, but it's going to take some time. But seeing him in there against Kushida, who's one of the great tacticians in the ring, I thought was excellent. Good to see Kushida kind of ramping back up in a positive, like on a winning streak, kind of getting some momentum back that he may have, because it seems like the stuff, because remember travel issues with Gresham, it kind of slowed down his momentum a little bit. Not his own fault, but just kind of situation. So seeing him getting kind of back running, just wrestling great matches, I'd like to see Kushida do. Just put him in there, have him be just like put on clinics every week. So I was a fan.
I want to address something. This is an interesting point of view. Oops, wrong one. Bell's Boy here says, I have a question though. Don't y'all think the Ash and newcomer Heather Reckless segment from last night's talking about TNA Impact episode from last night, Thursday, looks a lot like the Mariah May Tony Storm story? Honestly, no. I know what you're saying. I know it's easy to compare. If you're looking for stuff like that, then yeah, you could say, oh sure, they're copying it. No, I don't. The reason why I say no, and if you think that, that's fine. It's your opinion. I'm not telling you you're 1,000% wrong, but I'm just going to try to put a different spin on it. Something I've seen over the last handful of years in this brand. A lot of times they'll take a veteran and they'll put an up and comer with them to form some
Yes.
kind of alliance or tag team.
Oh, you
Best
mentioned one earlier.
The best one I can and I can think off the top of my head is Jason Hotch and John Schuyler is one of the best
Correct.
examples. John
Yeah,
Schuyler's
like,
been around for 15, 20 years. Jason Hotch just coming up over the last, handful of years, couple of years, whatever it's been. And it's a great way to put a rookie with a veteran.
yeah.
So and it's, I've seen that across the board. I can't think of you said I
Oh,
mentioned
yeah.
another one.
Oh, it's a wrestling trope. If you want to say it's a wrestling trope, that you get the young up and comer, put them with a veteran. That's tried and true in wrestling history. Because that's a way to establish somebody. You have the
Right.
hot shot to a title. You have the go through from the bottom to the top. You have the connect with a team, tag team, or individual, kind of give them a rub. And that's something with obviously Heather Reckless, someone new to their roster. A lot of people
Right.
aren't that familiar with. Get them in someone that's honestly one of the most interesting characters in the division right now. Makes a ton of
Right.
sense. Someone
Yeah.
that can talk, possibly have the Iceman involved with it as well, the personal concierge. So no, that I know everybody, at least with the Ash by Elegance character, wants to go, you're a blonde. Let's make a comparison, has been the thing ever since she got here. But I think she's doing something definitely different. It's its own thing. So we'll see. Because honestly, it doesn't feel like this is built like, from the get-go, the thing with Mariah May was be a feud with Toni Storm from the get-go.
Yeah.
Like, it was obvious that was what the build was. Does it feel like Heather Reckless versus Ash by Elegance is on? I actually think it's someone to try to connect with her, because she's been pretty much a lone competitor this whole time.
Yeah.
Not really making friends.
Right.
Right. So, but honestly, do you want to know what that comparison is? Because everyone's going to say it. The Beautiful People.
Oh, wow. 2.0. Well, and they said they're going to give Heather Reckless a makeover. We're going to have to see what this makeover looks like.
Yeah, you hear makeover, tag team. I think Beautiful People.
Yeah. I see things are getting a little spicy in the comments. Let's keep it nice. Every week we can all have our own opinions. Let's not get nasty about it. All right, folks.
That's right. This is Victory Road night.
Yeah. Let's keep it clean. We don't got to shoot on each other. We can respect each other's ideas and concepts here. All right. We continue here. We got a big tag team match. This one I was really looking forward to, because out of nowhere, this is the tag team that I never knew I wanted, and we got it tonight, and it looked amazing. Hammerstone and Jake something.
Oh.
Versus, actually, both these teams are pretty solid together. I will say that right off the bat. Eric Young and Maclin. And that's you could say almost that's another version of a veteran and an up-and-comer, but Maclin's kind of been around for a while. He's not, he's already been a world champ, but it's fun watching those two learn from each other. You know what I mean? But what do you think of this?
Oh, no, I definitely liked it. Like, we saw the build over the last couple weeks of, like, obviously, we talked about the tweener-ish Maclin giving respect to EY in their feud. So now they're kumbaya. They can work together. But then, obviously, you had Hammer and Jake just doing kind of cheap shots on these guys. And that's what formed this alliance to get this matchup. But you know what this felt like, J-Bone? This felt like the type of tag match you would get as a main event on like a live event card, like WWE or WCW back in the day. Like, you'd go to your local non-televised show and they'd put Hogan's teaming with with Piper tonight, and he's going against Sid Justice and Ric Flair. Like let's put them like, but it's just guys that have the same. Like they can get along, they have a team up, but they're not really expected. Like I don't come away from this thinking either of these guys are going to be pushing for tag title opportunities. It was like a tag team grudge match, which now I don't like. I see alliances, maybe some allegiances, some bigger tags, but I don't see like long-term tag ramifications. I don't know if you do, but I feel like it was more kind of like a one-off.
It could be. We're going to have to see how the tapings go from here. I mean, that's going to be the real telltale sign. If we see them staying together for certain matches, like if we see Hammerstone and Jake something down the line in the next month or so having a match against the Hardys or against ABC, then I feel like that could be a sign that they're keeping them together. Yeah. Well, we got to wait and see. I can see pros and cons to keeping them together. All of these guys have great solo careers ahead, but the thing is, sometimes you need some fresh tag teams, whether they're, what do we like to call them on the show? Platypus teams?
Oh, the old platypus.
The old platypus teams. So yeah, it's, I'm okay. Like the Hammerstone Jake something, it kind of reminds me of a classic big guy tag team, kind of like obviously they don't have makeup, but just the first one off the top of my head is like Demolition. Two big guys.
There you go.
And then Eric Young and Maclin just kind of feel like an old school throwback to like, I don't know.
Yeah. Two guys there to kick some ass.
Yeah. Nothing super gimmicky about them. Just bad.
Oh, there's a good reference. Was a big fan, and since JBL was on the show tonight, his former tag partner was a part of this. Doom, Ron Simmons, Butch Reed, love Doom.
I heard. I think I heard that Ron Simmons was on the premiere of SmackDown tonight.
Oh. Damn.
I could be yeah, damn. I could be wrong, but I think I saw a picture floating around the internet. He was hanging out with oh God, I can't. Holla. What the hell's his name?
Long.
Teddy Long. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I really like this. This one could have went either way. I am excited that Hammerstone and Jake something got the win here. I feel like they really needed one. Because
and honestly, if there's a team that's going to stick around, like they could be a team. Like I don't feel like Maclin and Young are a long-term team, but I could see Hammerstone and doing something together.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll have to see what the future brings for these guys. But this was a lot of fun to see this on the show nonetheless. Hammerstone and Jake something get the win. Kushida gets the win in the first match. On to the main card now to start off the Victory Road 2024. We got Matt and Jeff Hardy versus First Class, consisting
starting with the Hardys. How about that? That's a way to start the show.
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, it's like, if you're not going to start out with a big X Division match, just throw some of the biggest stars on the show in the first match right away, The
crowd cooking, man. Get them cooking.
Absolutely. Against First Class. Get them fired up against AJ Francis and KC Navarro. I am still, Bill, I'm telling you, I am so happy that this was not a one-off and that case. It looks like KC Navarro is sticking around with TNA.
Oh yeah, he's here to stay. He's here to stay. Definitely. I feel like at some point you'll hear something more official, like sort of like he'll give an interview like we've heard with some of the others that he's at least locked in through the rest of the year. Because we know AJ's locked in through the end of the year. And then obviously we're still pulling for Rich Homie Swan to come back as soon as possible when he's ready. But that would be, hey, 3 people in first class would not be a bad thing, J-Bo.
No, I would, in my personal podcasting opinion, I haven't heard that one in a while.
Wait. This isn't a personal, professional podcasting opinion? My
professional podcasting opinion. That's it. I'm so not professional. I would say a 3-man first class would damn near rival a 4-man system.
Oh, that's intriguing, J-Bone. I like where you're going. Now, J-Bone, I do have to bring something up because Norris Sparks mentioned it in the chat, and I've been talking about this for a while. He says bringing back Josh Bishop, who we've not seen since Canada. However, I just was scrolling as I put up a note about the show tonight. I saw a tweet from Josh Bishop in a cast saying he's out for an extended period of time.
Oh, no.
So I want to wish Josh Bishop the best. I'm hoping we still see him down the road here in TNA because I am a very big fan, and he would fit in right well with that match we just saw in the Countdown show with all those fellas. He'd be a great fit there. I'm not giving up hope on Josh Bishop that he made an appearance, but I don't know if he was – I don't know a lot of the details about the injury. It may have been pec, arm. It's something in that kind of region, but I know it's an extended, so definitely wishing for speedy recovery and hoping to see him back in TNA because I think that's another guy with a ton of potential that fits that kind of just big, badass dude. Seeing him do stuff with Maclin, Jake, EY, Hammerstone, I think that would be some theater, if you will.
Yeah, because as soon as he came out, I was like, whoa, who is this guy? I mean, he really made his presence known, especially going after a guy like PCO, you know?
Yes.
So
you don't mess with PCO unless you want the wrath of the monster.
Right. And the fact that there was like no follow-up to that was like, that was kind of weird.
Peculiar.
It was, because it was such a big move, you know? It wasn't like he just showed up and did security. No, he went against one of the, major stars of the show that day, So crazy. All right. Yeah, we wish him well. Hopefully he returns within I mean, depending on how bad whatever he's going through, if not later this year, early next year,
I feel like this is a injury that's definitely in the next year. So wish him the best.
Could be. Yeah. All right. But what did you think of the Hardys versus First Class? We kind of got off track a bit.
I thought this was the great way to start, as we said. Obviously, the Hardys, I think they're looking better and better in the ring because obviously they may have gotten a little rusty. Like Matt was performing, but Jeff hadn't been obviously for a while. So obviously they're brothers, they know everything, but they're looking more crisp in the ring, I think, each time they go. And now we're seeing some different matchups. Obviously you got someone very athletic like KC. I think AJ is just severely underrated for what he does to get that crowd going. Like they were smart, do the mocking the Hardys. AJ was doing that the whole. I think instant heat, but it feels like it's been so smooth this transition with KC joining First Class. It's just been a natural fit. I think that's what the match just showed, even though they didn't come out on the winning end here. But I after this show, I think you're seeing the writing on the wall because now we'll get into we have new tag champs, new heel tag champs, and the Hardys are rolling. and they're going into Hardy country this fall.
Oh, yeah.
You're seeing tag champions at some point this fall.
I think so.
That's who's defeating. Like that's I can't tell you which show it's going to be on. Could it be Bound for Glory and they go into these like, or could it be Spartanburg? Like the next set of tapings? Would they do it at a tape show? I doubt it. Change the tag titles to the Hardys, but I probably Bound for Glory and then the shows after that. Like they ride in through the rest of the year as champions.
Yeah, I feel like that's honestly a big show. Like,
and it's the right
call.
Glory. It's the right call. Yeah, and it's the right call.
It is.
Like you got stars like that, you gotta highlight them.
Well, not just them being stars, as if they're performing well. If they're riding on all cylinders, and there's and Jeff is sober, he's staying clean, performing well, and Matt's doing his thing like he always does, and I mean that in a positive way. It's a win-win. Yeah, absolutely. Critical Sting. Yeah, right. Avenge the Expedition of Gold.
Yes.
Yes, that does sound familiar. Wow. That goes back a few years, right?
When they were here last, that was like kind of their exit storyline almost.
It was. Yeah, because there was a Ring of Honor thing going on at the time. This is all predating AEW, so it was an interesting time. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, very excited about KC Navarro being with AJ Francis. It's there's so much more I could say on it, but I'm gonna save it for another time. But they're doing well. They're doing well.
They're doing well.
Yeah. X Division title on the line yet. This was a bit of a head scratcher for me. I missed part of this match. We got Wentz defending. This is his first defense, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
so we got.
He won it in the Ultimate X. Did he have a defense in the TV tapings the last couple? I do not. Oh, wait. Did he technically defend it on NXT?
No, he had that one against West. He took the title.
Was that a title match?
No, it wasn't. It was just a grudge match against Wes Lee.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, he brought the title to the show, but he didn't defend it.
Okay. So, but yeah, now that was one of the title matches there that I was telling Jay as we were kind of going over it, that was every title going to change hands.
Yeah, kind of weird. It didn't feel like that kind of show, but it almost ended up being that kind of show. So, what did you think about this title change? There's got to be like a bigger picture to this. This feels kind of weird. Like the match itself was very emotional. I don't know what was up with Wentz. He seemed like more emotional than usual. Maybe they had it because they were talking about something happened to him during the match. So maybe that's what caused the quick decision to have Bayley win, because something happened during the match and we don't know.
Well, yeah, that they gave an update. It does look like there might be something going on there. Although so that could play a part in it. Like I did the NXT thing. Like, I think that was part of the change, but could there be an issue, an injury angle or something like that on why to switch it back? It's a good question. It's a good question, because did I also hear rumblings that Trey might have something, a minor surgery, and be out briefly? Could there be some more rest? I thought I heard something rumbling, scuttlebutt in the last day or so.
I did hear that there was something with Trey Miguel. I forgot what it was.
Yeah, which obviously they didn't address that, so that's not part of any kind of storyline. But
right.
if Wentz was technically injured, that could kind of write off both if needed for a brief period of time. If they didn't go something separate, but yeah, no, it's a little bit of a scratcher on why, but obviously Bayley was a long-term champion. But I guess that's the whole thing, is what would be the next step. Like, if the Rascals aren't going to be featured on NXT, where was Wentz going to go with the title versus, I guess, where Bayley could go in the next coming months? Or, I know people love to talk about contracts and stuff like that. Bayley was ending. He's given many interviews that his contract was expiring at the end of the year. Might we hear in the next couple weeks that he quietly re-signed to a new deal, and that's why he got the belt back? Because now maybe they were worried about, hey, we need to just kind of find a good place to move it off of him now and not have to rush it at the end of the year if he's leaving. So maybe that's good positive news on the Mike Bayley front. Because the later in the year that he holds it, the more likely he's sticking around, I would imagine.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different little things that could be part of this story that we don't know about. We're just going to have to wait and see if anything pops up in the news. But nonetheless, hopefully Wentz's injury, well, it said they said he was cleared in that little update, but, you know, we'll have to see if he is featured soon. So
yeah,
but that was a wild match, man. What did you think of the match itself? It felt like a very high emotional match.
It was. It like the way they were going at each other and kind of like, hey, you hit me, like they were just trading. Well, I could tell right from the entrance, like Mike Bayley, when he gave me his shot as he did the high five. He had even a little extra umph on that, which he usually does. Like, that's not for the if you're not ready to take a little bit of a bump with a slap of the hand. Don't get too crazy with Mike Bayley. But he even gave it his little extra. I'm sure my hand was red there for a bit, but then on my clapping, it just numbs itself out usually.
I took one of those from Trey last year during the shows in Chicago. Oh my God. Yeah, I think I let out a woo after it. I was like, it was.
Yeah, some of them, they'll go, but there's like Jordynne, she usually has a little extra umph in it. But Mike Bayley, that's his thing. Like he goes full, like he's ready. He treats you like you got like the like he's training. He's giving you that kick or that punch.
Yeah.
That's right. He was letting me know, Swag fan. He was letting me know. And then he let Zach know. He let Zach know in the match.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, that just the look on his face when he pinned him was like oh,
I was surprised. It was going back and forth. Like I didn't think he was winning the night.
No.
It caught me by surprise.
I felt like this is going to be the first big win for Wentz, is to take out a guy like Speedball, who is literally one of the best. If we want to talk about X Division, top of the heap in this company, it's Speedball, whether he has a title or not.
Yeah, honestly, this really elevates Speedball even more because he only lost his title belt in the Ultimate X, which is a match where the odds are not in your favor at all as champion. So
that was at Emergence.
That was at Emergence, but he lost the belt. But really, he didn't lose it 1-on-1. He lost it through circumstance, and then to win it back immediately from the guy who did win that belt, that's strong booking, very strong booking. That's future world champion booking.
Honestly, yeah, because this is the time of year where people start looking towards option C. Honestly, any time of year is option C.
That's what I'm thinking, Jay. But
this is
option C. Is that giving you a strong option C candidate? Because he didn't use it that first time around, obviously. But does he do it this time? That's maybe. Could he hold the spell long enough? Do they have like an early return to Canada next year? Maybe Hard to Kill, where he could maybe challenge for a world title exercising option C.
Oof. We'll see. Yeah. But the X division's on fire right now. I mean, we saw that at the Ultimate X, just that we have so many different people to throw in that division, you know, whether it's a base or someone that can, you know, flip 1,000 times in the ring, you know.
Hey, you know me. We talked about him earlier. Jason Hotch, man, stole the show with some of those moves in that match. Like that was a star-making performance.
Yes, absolutely. That is a guy who is definitely going to make his mark within this next year. Yeah, you know, and I like him as a good hand, but you can only do so much with a guy like John Skyler. You know, I feel so.
Well, yeah, Jason, like because he's obviously the mouthpiece, but we heard a little bit of promo work from Hotch. He can do it. Like, remember, they said the same thing about Josh Alexander, and because Ethan was a good promo, and Josh was a great worker, but they're like they never gave him a chance with the mic. He's a great promo, Josh. Now, yeah, and I think you can see the same thing. You just got to give some a chance. Like you give them a chance, and they fall on their face. Okay, that's a whole nother story. But you gotta slowly give these people opportunities, and I think that's each one of them where he'll take it and run.
Right, yeah, and we'll get to Josh in a little bit with his match. But next we got we talked about this already a little bit. We're talking about PCO and Rhino versus Matt Cardona and Steph DeLander. I woke up right in the middle of her promo, not realizing why she was saying goodbye. It was just, I was like, she's leaving, and she's leaving with PCO. What the hell did I miss? You know, so I was just kind of scratching my head, but I did appreciate the attack from Cardona to Rhino. So hopefully we'll get that one-on-one during the TV taping.
I imagine that's happening, but we'll see, because this could be, obviously he was in full gear. I still don't know if Cardona's actually wrestled yet a match since his injury. So I don't know if he's still slightly being protected from that as well. But we'll see. We'll see what happens over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, he looked ready. Jeez. He looked great.
He's always ready, J-Bone.
That's always ready. That's right. That's a song, isn't it? All right. So a little confusion there, but we figured it out. Poor Rhino. All right. Knockouts tag titles. Next, we've got Militia coming down into ring, but Lish is not cleared. So we found this out. That was the big question leading into this. And I feel like the substitute was a great substitute. We got Tasha Steelz, former Knockouts champion. Great to see her in this situation. It's like, why not?
And I think it makes even more sense if you watch the most recent Explosion episode, also on the TNI Plus app.
Yeah.
And I guess it's now public for the YouTube too, so you can see it either way.
Yeah. But yeah, so great to see Tasha with Masha. Wow, I just realized that.
Tasha, Masha. That a
Tasha with
guy,
Masha. Feels like Saturday morning. we're learning to rhyme.
It is Saturday morning.
Well, somewhere, yes.
You're almost a Saturday morning.
Yeah, just about. Then we got Spitfire. This is a very emotional match for Dani Luna and Jody Threat. Is this going to be the last time that they tag together? You can see it on their faces. They really, I gotta say, they with the behind the scenes little interviews they did talking to each other. The relationship building that they did with Lars over the course of the last few months when he was there. I would have stuck with the tag team. I don't see why you got to go on tour. I mean, but whatever. No, I'm just kidding. I'm talking like he's never been on tour before. Going on tour? Tour for what? Oh, he's in a band?
They have somebody else open for him.
I never heard of him. No, I'm just kidding. But so yeah, I was excited for this match, win or lose. I was excited to see what was going to happen, what story was going to roll out of this, and this really was fun to watch. Militia versus Spitfire. What'd you think, Bill?
No, I was a fan of this one. Good seeing obviously still Lish out there. Supporting the team, but that is one where I think you could see this as one where there was going to be a title change because I didn't think they were going to break up Spitfire. So, and obviously with Lish being out, it gives an angle because everyone's been waiting for it. What we saw at the end, that you're going to have the Masha and Lish split whenever they lost. And this could be the breakout. I think it was Bell's Boy asking earlier about Masha as a singles wrestler now. Because it does feel like we're going to see, as John says, Tasha versus Masha. And that's one where I think a lot of people think Masha in the current Knockouts division may be the one to eventually take that title from Jordynne Grace, because it is more and more limited who you think could actually defeat Jordynne. Masha in the singles run, obviously on the indies, she's a force. She was a force the first time around when she first came to TNA, and was having those matches obviously with Mickey and things like that. So
she's quite the veteran.
Yeah, like she's like comparably, I guess she isn't around a lot of others, but she's been making waves now for a number of years. So I think that's definitely a possibility. It seemed like it was the right time. Sadly, that like Lish had to be injured for it to be part of the time. I don't know how long they would have stretched it out if that wasn't the case. But no, I think this was a good way to do it, and I thought it was a good match from Spitfire. I thought they looked pretty good here. I thought they looked like that extra incentive is probably what they needed. Because remember, they were a lot of time we saw them, they weren't on the same page, kind of post Lars. So seeing them kind of back working together, working as a team, it does seem to make them. And we know this is a hot potato title. The Knockouts tag has been a hot potato division. But maybe it'll get a little more solidified. But I still think, and I hate to be the booker here and look down the road, but I know I've said it on the show. If they have to have the baby faces be the Knockouts tag champs, because Rosemary and Wendy Choo are going to win those titles and be on both shows, is my opinion on what's going to happen. So I think it just set that up.
Could be. I mean, they really are good together. And we'll talk more about that in a bit. But yeah,
That was kind of a random. That was a platypus initial pairing, but they do work well together, Jody and Dani. Like they complement each other's skills well, and that does happen. Like almost all tag teams, people like to act like these random tag teams, and a lot of times they are. But you get good tag teams by sometimes they work well together, and then they just keep doing it, and they become a great tag team. So once again, they were put together not that long ago in the grand scheme of things, but they're improving. Like sometimes you got to build teams, and that's what we're seeing here. So
yeah, you got to do what you got to do to keep a division going.
Oh yeah.
So great match between these two teams. Great to see Masha working with Tasha. And of course, Lish is losing her mind at ringside. Of course, she wants the team to stay champions. And of course, the fans. Well, I shouldn't say, of course, the fans, because I'm sure there were some fans that actually legit wanted to see Militia and see Tasha stay with Masha. I mean, that they looked like they worked pretty good,
For sure.
But Spitfire gets the win here, and post-match, Tasha ends up dropping Masha because Lish was really she was really leaning into Masha. She was really letting her have it, blaming her for the loss. So Tasha is now standing with Lish. So are they going to make Tasha an official part of the system?
Yeah. We've learned.
No.
No.
You think it's all just
Lish
temporary?
Brings in hired guns. Yeah, hired guns.
Okay. Do you think,
unless they stick around long enough, maybe like JDC, but you always had Eddie and Brian kind of pushing for him to become a member, even though Moose was hesitant.
Yeah, and that was a fun little storyline, made you wonder what was going to happen. I'm sure there were people like, no, clobber him,
Clobber him.
But we saw he certainly tried to make things happen tonight. We're going to get there. We're going to get there. Joe Hendry versus Josh Alexander. I'm telling you, Bill, when Joe Hendry came out and this place lit up and they're all singing his song and they're all waving their hands, I had goosebumps. This was just, this crowd was great. And just to see this size crowd having this much fun at a TNA show, just, man, it made me want to be there as a fan. Like if I'm a fan and I'm watching this for the first time, I'm like, wow, I haven't seen a Victory Road in a long time, and I'm tuning into this. I'm like, man, that makes me want to be part of this crowd. That looks like a lot of fun. That gave me goosebumps, Bill. What'd you think about we'll get into the match too, but Joe Hendry with Josh here.
Oh, this was a show stealer. This one, we'll get the opinions from everyone in the chat what they thought was the match of the night. But you saw the crowd. The crowd was and there was a couple matches obviously they were all into, but it's tough to say like by far the most over individual. And there was some over, the Hardys, Nick Nemeth, but Joe Hendry is kind of a thing all his own right now. From the promo earlier where Josh was kind of cutting it kind of like he's the hero we need in this time. Just perfect ways to kind of build up this whole angle going on now. But yeah, obviously you had some shenanigans in this match. You had the low blow, but he had the cup with his face on it. Classic. But it's like kind of it is interesting because we had a debate on this show. Members of the TNI panel, even like with the whole from Joe Hendry, because Joe Hendry obviously had his first run years ago here, but then he came back, and then at times it's like the same things were said. Is he just a comedy relief? Is he like the jester, as Josh would say? Is he just viral? Does get like kind of going after him a lot of these that he can't cut it in the ring? He's putting it right out there. Like I think, having a storyline and a feud where someone's bringing out the criticisms that are out there, that really are, they're not just kind of like just throwing it out there. That's like the online wrestling community going after Joe Hendry, and Josh is embodying that right now. I thought that was a great way to approach this storyline. And then obviously he's talking about being the great wrestler and all that, but all he's doing is nut shots every match. So it's the ultimate heel move in wrestling now. And then you have Joe, and this might be the shock of the night here. And not that he won. I thought he would win, but that he made Josh tap out clean.
He did. He did.
And not that he used his move, but he used his move as a transition into the finish. And that's a good way. I kind of see what they're doing. They're now giving him a finisher, a submission finisher as well, that kind of build his repertoire of moves, because I know that's a criticism he gets, is maybe he should have more. Like he shouldn't be like they want to categorize him as like the 5 moves of doom type of Joe Hendry. So getting a submission finisher and now taking out the face of the company over the last 3 to 4 years, that a huge win for I don't think it could be understated how big of a win this was for Joe Hendry. Like if they're building him up to be bound for glory, that was a big step tonight.
It's funny because he used Kurt Angle's finisher, and he also, in that little jab, that song he did, you said that Josh Alexander was a Kurt Angle from Wish.
Yes.
I said Timu, but
you're a Timu guy.
I never even, you see Timu commercials all the time.
Poshmark guy, J-Bone.
What's that?
I figure you for a Poshmark or an Etsy man myself.
Oh, absolutely. Etsy all the way. Yeah. But yeah, I thought it was cool that he put him in the angle lock and made him tap out. It was a good match. It was a good match, and we were talking about, like what the fans are saying over, the last, however long. Because I'll admit, I was one of those fans, Bill. When
I didn't want to name names, Jacob.
Well, I mean, and I'll admit it, because when I got this is a perfect timeline here. When he was digital media champion, last year, but he was also kind of on the sideline injured, but he was doing photo ops. He was doing autographs and photo ops with the fans. I got my picture with him because I liked him. But I also had this thing in the back of my head as I'm looking at him and he's holding the digital media title. That little thing goes through the back of my head like this is as far as he's going to go. Like I like him, but this is it for him. This is the highest this is the best it's going to be for him. I'll admit it. I said that, and I can admit when I'm wrong. It's I can absolutely admit when I'm wrong because now the guy's on fire. Has he changed? Really? No. I mean, we're seeing a little more charisma out of him. We're seeing a little more get up and go because the crowd is behind him. And the guy could fart a tune and the crowd's going to go, yeah, we believe, it's You know, oh, I'm sorry. We believe. That's where he's
As long
at.
as there's a music video.
Yes. Yeah. You know, it's
The musical stylings of Jabin.
yes, absolutely.
Jay Bronsky, for those who know.
Yes, yes. So yeah, I'm ecstatic for him. Part of me, this was a tough one. I didn't really know if he was going to win this one, just because you don't know really who's got more momentum at this point. Josh being heel, becoming a bigger heel in the company, or Joe Hendry and his just atomic, charisma, fan base growing at an exponential rate,
Yes.
So, but Joe got the win here. And like I said, if you're gonna do it and put the nod back to the song that he did on Thursday's Impact, it's perfect. He did the ankle lock, beat him with Kurt Angle's finisher. Can't be any more perfect than that. TNA World Tag Team titles. Man, I said this last night during the review. ABC got the win over First Class, but they had a rough night. They had one of those wins where they looked like they barely scraped by their teeth, the skin of their teeth, which really made me wonder how they were going to do tonight. So honestly, Bill, this does not surprise me. I was hoping ABC was going to win, but I had a feeling this system was going to, at least part of their reboot was going to be successful, and this was going to be the part of it that was going to be, them getting back to the top of the mountain. What do you think, Bill?
Yeah, this did. You're right. Like there has been some struggles for ABC. Like they almost kept losing. But it did feel obviously where the system. It's interesting because we saw earlier Lish not lose the belt on her own, but she no longer now has the belts. So the system was beltless as the biggest faction in this company. So that's like, so what's that mean? And obviously they got the new shirt, new merch. I talked about it. It is available. The T-shirt for the system, it's out there with JDC on there as well. So this did feel like it, especially when we get to the main event, you still have to have the system be a player in the title picture. They can't be kind of losing everything and kind of all falling apart unless you want to break up that faction at some point. So, and like I said, I think this is parlaying it to the Hardys winning the tag titles in the future. So it kind of lines up. So it wasn't a total surprise. When they did this match as soon, it felt like it was setting it up. Yeah, as Mayor's saying there too. I know we kind of talked about it a little earlier. But yeah, this, like, ABC, big fans of ABC. Always good to see the guys there. I think they've had some great runs with the belt. But it'll be interesting to see. Do they keep doing the tag? Do they stay mainly in the tag? Or do they start venturing out? Because I think both those guys are due some good singles runs in the future too. But right now, the main event picture is stacked. Honestly, the X division is stacked, and that's kind of where the two divisions they'd be. That's why I'm in the tag division right now, honestly. Oh, you're muted, Jabo.
Oh, sorry. Of all the nights, my little Oreo decided to go back into heat, and she hasn't been in heat since. You know what? I can't remember the last time in heat she's been in heat. But I was like, well, we're doing a show later. I'm sure she's going to make her presence known. There you go.
Bang.
It's all about Oreo. Singing away. All right. But yeah, good tag team match. Not ABC's best night. The reboot is happening. Or at least we got part of a reboot tonight, right, Bill?
Yeah.
And I remember you messaged me, I think, after this match. You're like, "Oh, are we gonna get all new title holders tonight or something?"
Yeah, because at that point, every match that had a title got changed.
Right. So X Division changed, Knockouts tag changed, and this changed.
Yeah. So both tag titles and the X Division changed. Clean. And I forget which show. Critical Sting would probably be the one. Was it a actual Big Four, or was it? It was like this. It was a live plus special where they did a lot of rearranging of the belts. Maybe.
Well, it was a couple of years ago.
A couple of years ago, like maybe close to 2 years ago, I feel like. And it was like kind of like a reset on everything.
Yeah. It was
emergence or something.
It was when these shows really started ramping up, and they were putting better production, and they just became they were becoming must see, and it was because of what happened to all the titles. It was like, whoa, a lot, because so many times, like, oh, none of the titles are going to change. I'll just catch up next week.
But it does make sense. Like, I guess the negative that I know a lot of fans have about the taped weekly show, it does make it, now that you're putting emphasis on the live specials as they're canon, they're following storylines, that you change titles there because they're live. You're going to get the most effect. Now, you're not getting TV ratings and stuff like that, but you're getting social media impressions, word of mouth, by having them on live shows, especially a live show in front of a couple thousand people.
Right. Oh, John Palmer's got a very interesting point here. He says ABC to NXT versus Fraser and Axiom would be an awesome match. Honestly, when ABC's been on top like this, and they kind of like maybe they need a little refresher. Maybe they need a little time away, a few weeks away.
They'd be good ambassadors. Like, they're two of the future looking guys. Like, you have the Rascals, you have Joe Hendry, you have Jordynne Grace, you had Hammerstone. Like, that would be two more. Like, you have guys that have ruled both the X division, the tag division. Future, I hate the term pillars, but building blocks of this company going forward. I think they'd be, now I'm sure part of the audience would be like, oh, that just means now they're on their radar and they're going to get scooped up. But I think that just getting them more eyes on them going forward, I think that honestly would be good for a lot of the talent here. So I'd be on board.
Yeah, absolutely. Just give them something fresh to do, especially when you've been tag team champs for a while. You've beaten everyone. Put them over there for a few months. It ain't gonna hurt them.
I think that would be good. I think that'd be a good use.
Yeah,
get some back and forth between the shows.
Come back strong. Or
I think the tag division could be a great use of the partnership. Like I said, I think with both the knockouts that I was talking about and a team like ABC, I think that'd be a good utilization of getting members from different shows showing up both places.
I tell you what's the first tag team match I would put as far as someone from NXT tag team coming over to TNA. I want to see Hammerstone and Jake something versus Hank and Tank. Shut up and take my money. Oh my God. Two big beefy boy tag teams. Just
Jay wants his Arby's.
I want all the beef, and I want it all right here, right now. I want Thursday night beef. Oh boy! All right. Well, shoot. There's Monday night beef. There's Friday night beef. Why not Thursday night beef? Hell, Tuesday we got Obafemi versus Hammerstone. Tuesday night beef. I'll take beef any night of the week. All right, I'm going to get off the beef thing. It's going to get a little weird. Where were we? Here we go. Knockouts title on the line. Jordynne Grace, being what the hometown hero from Texas, you could say. You know, she's from not too far away, a few hours away. Versus, yeah, I believe so. Versus NXT's Wendy Choo. Now, Wendy Choo came out alone, but I had absolutely no doubt that we were going to see.
I was looking around half the time. That it went clean. that was clean was kind of the surprise of the match for me, because I figured it would be interference during the match. But as soon as it ended, I started looking around again, and then she just flew in.
Yeah,
Rosemary was quick.
She was. I tell you what, for not seeing much of Wendy Choo as a wrestler, like I know she had like her baby face run, and now she came back all dark. I don't know if it was an injury or what it was. I'm loving this. You know, it's so different.
Oh, yeah.
It's a different kind of gimmick. You know, it's great for NXT. How well would it do like on a main roster? I'm not sure, but
it's always tough to navigate.
Yeah,
like certain gimmicks like that, if they'll work on the main roster.
Right. It doesn't feel like everything would work on Raw and or SmackDown. Some things just fit a smaller bill. Like, I don't know what it is. You know, just depends on who's all on there, I guess.
Yeah, like I think like the promos, the backstage stuff can definitely work. But you see it. Like we see it at times, even on TNA. When you have a bigger crowd, and you're talking crowd sizes of 15, 20,000, to keep attention, to keep them interested with different styles that are a little bit out of the norm. Yeah. That's asking a lot of an audience. Certain audiences, if you cater to them, then it can go over. But we've seen it. There was a lot of black and gold NXT acts that were super over. They were super over with a crowd of a couple hundred people, that decided they wanted to be super over. You put them in front of a bunch of people that never saw any of that and just thought it was going to get over. That's you get some base hits, and you get a lot of strikeouts doing it that way.
Yeah, I feel like Pac was one of those guys. Like he's doing great in AEW. He's doing great in AEW right now. But I feel like he always struggled here and there in WWE, you know. So, but what'd you think of the match? I felt like this was a pretty hard hitting match. I was impressed with Wendy Choo.
Yeah. Like I honestly, I think I saw her maybe a couple times since she's been in NXT, but I do remember her on the Indies, Karen Q. So I do remember her there. So she's definitely a talented wrestler. Like she has the ability, and just like everything else, sometimes you need a gimmick, and she found the gimmick. I think her babyface gimmick was not one that would get over on the main roster. So I think the change to a darker gimmick, sort of falling in like not comparably, but similar to like Alexa Bliss when she was with Bray Wyatt, like a darker kind of gimmick that did get over. So I think that's not a bad approach to something kind of a little goofy, make it a little more dark. But I thought like honestly, you see a match on paper and you're like Jordynne Grace, the unstoppable juggernaut, going against Wendy Choo. It's like, can she give her the match that kind of Jordynne Grace deserves? And I think she did. Like, I think she, because we've seen Jordynne do a lot of the open challenges against the NXT roster, and I thought she gave as good as match as anybody up to this point. So it's no. And then obviously Jordynne, once again, figuring out how this reign of Jordynne is going to end is still something. We see the aftermath. We see Rosemary. So now Rosemary, who kind of hadn't gone full heel on TNA programming, you can officially say has gone full heel on TNA programming.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
But she was still kind of mainly face on TNA. But I know her actions on NXT definitely came off as a heel. But this was full-fledged. Like, Rosemary will get boos at shows, which has been a long time since that's happened.
That's so hard to believe.
So that means she's doing a good job of it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean,
but that's why you have to have that ultimate baby face in Jordynne. That's what will get you that heel response, because there was a time not long ago, I dare say, maybe 2 years ago, that nothing could make Rosemary a heel in this company.
No, biggest pop in the show is screaming, "I'm going to bite your face off," and having several hundred people, several hundred fans
coming out of pandemic
scream it back at her.
Yeah, yes. So hearing some boos after that in Texas, and I think there's going to be follow-up and probably in other markets now, as long as she's feuding with Jordynne. I think you're going to see those boos. So, and that's something you get back to that initial incarnation of the Dark Rosemary with that debut of Decay all those years ago. And this still could be this big Rosemary run we're going to see. It feels like it.
I love it. It's been such a long time coming. I mean, her evolution over the years has been great. And I feel like sometimes it was just like they didn't want to put too much on her, it felt like, because she was injured and she wasn't 100% or whatever the deal was. But like everything that she did with Havoc last year and changing the character and now changing back, it's been great, and then there's this whole new twist to her character where she's losing it all and she's going to places that she hasn't been to in a long time. And she's trying to figure it out. And the voices are getting to her, and Wendy Choo's been part of that. So it's wild. I love it. I mean, they're really, it's not just her. It's production. It's everything working. It's the complete package. Totally. That's all part of it. Those up and close and personal promos where it's kind of like a classic Marilyn Manson video, twitchy, scary, it makes you uncomfortable to watch. That's good stuff. We get a nice heartfelt segment here towards the end of the show now. Santino's there and Ariana Grace shows up, and he is just gushing. He is just gushing. He is so proud of her.
They had to do it.
Yeah. And she's like, I'm trying to be professional. So it's like, you could tell what they're talking about without saying it. He's like, "Oh, my little liaison," It was really, it was like, I've got kids that I'm so proud of. Like my daughter's doing phenomenal in her career. She started becoming a beautician recently. She's just starting to really get into doing hair. She graduated college. My son just started at UW Madison. I couldn't be more proud of him. He's doing the halftime shows during the Badger games.
Very nice.
He's doing amazing. And, so I see the emotion on his face where he's trying to stay in character, but he's like welling up. You know, he's trying to like hold back some tears at the same time. It's that's legit emotion right there. You can tell he's loves his kid.
Yeah, and it's that they were on the same show. It was a good way of acknowledging it without acknowledging it.
Yeah.
Like to kind of ignore it like it wasn't there and never have them cross paths. That almost seems like you're going to too much effort to avoid it. So I thought they did a pretty good job of it.
Right, because people were talking about that in the chat yesterday. I don't remember if it was on the live reaction or the review, but there were people that put that in the chat. Like, now all we need is Santino and his dog.
I got it. Talk about delivering.
We got it. Yep, we got it. So whoever put it in the chat yesterday, I'm sorry, I don't remember who, because you got like, hundreds of chats rolling past your eyes. So whoever said it, thank you, because obviously it clicked with someone. Main event time here, Bill. Oof. We got the TNA World Title on the line. We got Nick Nemeth defending. Moose going after it, getting that rematch. And who's on commentary? The king of
self-proclaimed king.
Self-proclaimed. Bill, you of all people, you're not. I feel like this is like the opposite on the spectrum of like the Joe Hendry and people believing in him. You gotta believe in Kaz. He is the king of TNA.
Gotta believe in King Kaz.
Oh, absolutely. He is. I mean, for a guy that's been in the industry this long, to be back a part of TNA and be in almost the best shape of his career.
Hey, it's all the serotonin.
And there's a lot of serotonin going on there, yeah. I think they were talking about some Jack
How did
Daniels.
he become king, J-Bone?
Well, maybe you're not too far off on the whole self-proclaimed thing. But anyways.
I respect the legend that is Kaz. But king, like, why don't you just be like Duke Beef Wellington over there or something else? Because where did he get this name? Like there was a king and queen named Diana, the drama king.
Oh yeah.
But I see no crown, J-Bone.
I don't think you really
going around calling yourself a king.
I don't think you really need a crown in this day and age. I mean, look at the King of the Ring over in that other brand of WWE. You had a queen who proudly wore hers. You had a king who brought his out to the ring once and never even put it on his own head. Do you really need a crown?
At least once.
He's got a hell of a scarf.
well, so does Ray Walt.
So does MJF, yeah. But yeah. So yeah, I wasn't sure how Kaz was gonna fit into this, but he was on the first victory road. So I suppose, yeah.
He was. But I still think that it feels like there is a tease that they've been teasing this Nemeth and Kazarian angle continuing. Like there will be there be a big Kazarian run at some point? It does feel like it might be backburnered, but they're just they're keeping it in there. Like it's going to happen on one of these shows.
Yeah, I feel like it's got to happen. I feel like it's just got to happen.
But you know what we had happen in this match? Shenanigans.
Yeah, there unfortunately was some shenanigans. I mean, as soon as you saw them all come out with Moose and kind of give him the old pat on the back, like, all right, here you go, good luck. you knew you were going to see him later in some degree.
Yeah.
But yeah, Nick Nemeth. Let me tell you, if Nick Nemeth was going to lose here, I was really trying to get myself ready for it because I have loved Nick Nemeth as a champ here. I'm so happy for him, and I want to see it go till the end of the year. But part of me was like,
a hell of a job. He's front and center, obviously, on all the rest of the year posters. And obviously he is known, like the crowd. He is one of the more known acts at the company. He obviously had a long run where people know him, world champion at the biggest company in the world. So, and he's been a workhorse. So he did the Iron Man match. It's like he's bringing it. He's bringing it. There's no doubt. So I give him credit because that was one thing I was kind of, like I said, I was going to keep on him because there was some early where like he was maybe not because he had so many dates. So he was working like half the tapings.
Right.
And then he missed some tapings. So now he's full time. And that was my only thing. Okay. If you're going to be a world champion, you gotta be here. You gotta be at the company to be that champion. And he has.
Oh, yeah.
So, and I'll tell you, we already talked a lot about it earlier, but I know some people weren't here. And if you're joining us late at the end of the show, thanks for joining us. But obviously the JBL angle, which we saw the tease before, but then he really played a part in making sure these shenanigans didn't cause a new world champion by taking out some of the system. But then also we got a little Mike Santana getting himself involved in this to make sure things didn't go a certain way. And we see already, I guess it's been advertised now. I saw it just on the social media that there's going to be a Texas death match between JDC and Santana. So look for that I don't know if they're advertising it for Thursday, but in the next couple of weeks. So another outcome of what you saw tonight.
Yeah, because the first part of the shenanigans was JDC and Lish coming out there, high heels, holding onto her neck brace, still trying to make a statement. It's like, what are you doing? It's like, she's like, hey, wait up. It was really funny. It was like, but she has become a force to be reckoned with. She has been that one that screws up matches. Someone hits the ropes, she is the one that she trips them up while the ref is distracted. She is the one that does that. She's paying dividends. And it took a while, but she really has become that valet, as well as, I'll say she has definitely stepped it up over the last few years. She's done it all, and she's been by Eddie Edwards' side, learning and grinding and doing it all with him. So, yeah, helping evolve that character, becoming who she is. And a majority of it is just reacting to what's happened to him throughout the years. One of the biggest things was when Eddie Edwards had that rivalry with Killer Cross. That was crazy. He was beating the tar out of Eddie Edwards, and Lish was losing her mind, screaming. It was emotional. It was hard to watch. It was crazy. So, J-Bone remind us what Lish's catchphrase. You want to know something?
There you go.
I'm surprised she didn't do that as Moose, was coming down to it. You want to know something? Moose is going to win. And I know you're a Moose fan, so I really couldn't wait to talk to you about this, Bill. What were your thoughts going into this? Did you think Moose was going to win, or what? Just I want to hear what your mindset was.
No, I thought there was going to be some back and forth, the setup, possibly a rematch again in the future. But it didn't feel, although when you got so much involvement from the rest of the system, I guess anything was in play, but I didn't see the end of Mammoth's run being this. When I saw Moose get this matchup here at Victory Road, I was like, well, it's a big matchup, but it's like, it's almost too soon for him to regain the title, because I didn't think Nick would have it that briefly. So I was not too disappointed in it. Although sometimes when I saw him hit that spear, I thought, oh, maybe. You never know. Not many people are getting up from that. So, but no, Nick, like they went to war. They went to war. Like you saw all the classic moves from Moose. You saw him going all over the ring. And then obviously with the help of the system, it wasn't enough. So a big win for Nick, like a signature world title victory for Nick.
Yeah. And we got JBL. Can't forget JBL.
And we got JBL.
Yeah, which we talked about at the top of the show, but it's a big enough thing that we got to at least touch on it for those that came in.
He's the exclamation point on the show, because what will that fallout be? If we even get it, or will it just be last time it happened and we won't even discuss it again?
He's been tied to Nick Nemeth 3 separate times now, twice in TNA, 1 in AAA. So there's that. So there's got to be something there. But the fact that he did it while the system was in play, I said it at the top of the show, I'll say it again. Don't be surprised if this leads to Moose Moose versus JBL for Bound for Glory.
Yeah, you could do, and I know people said earlier, you could do some kind of street fight. Like, obviously, we see he's doing some moves. There's always a way to book somebody into a match with the right parameters. So if that's something they want to explore, I think anything's on the table. So we'll see.
Yeah. You got the clothesline from hell versus the go to hell.
There you go.
I don't know. I'm like, I don't know. Put it on a poster. It'll look good. But yeah, the main event was amazing. It was another very physical one. I went into this really not knowing where they were going to go with this, because Nick, I've loved Nick as champ, like I said, but I was ready for him to lose to Moose, because going into Bound for Glory, who would be, you're trying to come up with a good storyline for one of the biggest pay-per-views of the year. What do? It's almost easier to pick an underdog to go against a big heel than it is the other way around sometimes. So who knows? But Nick Nemeth came out with a big win here. We got to wait and see what's up with JBL. And well, that reboot of the system didn't exactly go the way they wanted to. So we got to see what the fallout from that is as well. So,
yep.
Any final thoughts on Victory Road, Bill?
No, Victory Road. One that obviously has a lot of history, but it's not considered like one of the premium live events, not one of the big 4, but what a signature event now of the TNA Plus app. So if you don't have it, every reason to have it after a show like this. 2,000 seat gate, title changes galore, big surprise in JBL. So definitely tune in. If you don't have the app, get the app, code Spurs, get that first month free, and check it out. But a great show tonight, and looking forward to see what happens on TV.
There you go. Couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you, Bill. I know we had a few technical issues going into this, but we came out good, and hope tomorrow's show goes great. Can't wait to see the aftermath of this down the road on TNA Impact, and yeah, safe travels to you, bro. We'll talk to you in the chat down the road.
Thank you, Jay. Take care of the TNI fam, and we'll see you maybe next Tuesday, depending on what happens on NXT. But if not, normal Thursday for the flag preview.
Yeah, we'll I'll be watching NXT. I know I missed this week's, so we'll be checking that out. We'll see what happens. If not, you'll see us Thursday. But thanks everyone for tuning in. On your way out, folks, you know what to do. Make sure you smash that like button, smash that sub button, ring that bell for notifications. Why? So that you know when more of our content hits your screen. Good night, folks. We'll see you soon.